Hello, I'm literally in class right now. I'm doing like 3D design right now. So anyways, I want to do a little chit chat, get ready with me, just yapping away about social anxiety because I have been struggling. Like this last week, I have been struggling. And I just want to talk about just like my journey with anxiety, and I hope my story is cohesive enough. I have this class till 4:30. I have like 2 hours left. Gosh. Save me. Where do I begin? Oh, just to have a little disclaimer, I am not formally diagnosed, but I was told by a teacher in high school that I may be having a little bit of social anxiety, but I'll get to that point in a bit. So I want to say that because I've never been formally diagnosed, I've never been to therapy. So this isn't medical or psychological advice in any means. It's just me telling my story about my experience. So I feel like social anxiety has been a thing started at elementary school. School has been the source of my anxiety. I feel like I've had like different levels throughout my life of how much social anxiety I feel. And I think I feel like when I was a kid, I was just more scared of like getting in trouble for like not doing homework or not knowing the answer when a teacher like picks on me. And I think that's like the beginnings of like what has manifested to what I freaking am now because I'm a mess. I think it's just like I always would get in trouble and like called on, and like I was just never a good student growing up because I didn't have like motivation to get like the best grades or whatever throughout elementary school and then into like high school. And I remember in grade 7 I was in a split class, and it was grade 7-8 class, and I had like more of a tougher teacher. She was like pretty tough, and I remember getting in trouble a lot in the beginning because like I wouldn't do my homework, and I was just struggling because also like at home, like I don't know, I didn't have like a good like support system. Like I don't blame my family obviously, but I don't think I had like a good support system because like my parents worked a lot. So then like I also didn't have a guardian that can understand me. And there's also like this big cultural difference between my parents and then myself, like even my sisters and stuff like that, because we are second generation immigrants. So I was born here and I grew up here, whereas my parents like immigrated in the 90s. So obviously there's like a big cultural difference. I felt like I could never really like go to them for help when I was feeling some type of way. Like it was just like me being like, I just gotta deal with it. Like I just have to suffer, I guess. It was like that. When I see kids or like people my age go to their parents and they're like, their parents are always actively helping them and stuff, I always feel a little bit of jealousy because I did have that. Like my parents would, or like mostly my mom and my grandma would try to help me with homework and stuff like that. But like when it came to like a lot of like really technical things, especially in high school, it was like you're on your own. There was like no guidance. I just had to figure it out. So when I went to high school, I went to the self-directed high school, and it's not like a regular high school where you go to class and then you just see your teacher every day or every other day. It was like a self-directed high school where you would only have scheduled classes like once a month, and then like every other day of the month you kind of gotta figure it out. Like you just gotta figure it out. They give you all your units in the beginning of the year, kind of technically, and then you just have to make sure you finish all of your homework by the end of the year. And I think it was just not a process that was good for me growing up because like I was incredibly like irresponsible. Like as a teenager, like I could do it now. Obviously I have my college classes, and like it's not that hard now because I think when you have thousands of dollars on the line, you feel more motivated at this point. In high school, I was already not the best driven student in the first place. So like I wasn't the best. I was like lead. So obviously when you have a student that's not very like self-driven with academics, I was only self-driven with classes I liked. So like art, Comtech, all those stuff. Like if you have that combination of like a student that isn't very self-driven in a self-directed school, you're bound to fall behind. You're bound to face failure, especially if you don't reach out to your teachers for like help. So that's what happened throughout grade 9 and 10. I would fall behind, and then I was like too scared to ask my teachers to help me because I was like, oh my god, I'm so behind, like I'm already failing, like this is so embarrassing. Like I would feel embarrassed every time. I didn't like asking my friends for help because like I was embarrassed for being behind. And like I don't know why, but like people who meet me in high school kind of just assume I'm a good student or like I'm smart. So then when I say, oh no, I'm behind like in this subject, they're like, oh, I thought you were smart. And I would feel so like embarrassed. I'm like, why are there like these labels on me, like, or assumptions? Like I was never a good student growing up, but like when you meet people like that you've never known since elementary school, they kind of just assume things and they're just like, I thought you were smart. So anyways, so basically in this school you have like teacher advisors. It's called TA. It's not like college or uni where it's like a student that like helps. It's an actual teacher, and then this teacher is basically like your homeroom teacher, and in your homeroom they only do like attendance. This teacher is supposed to be like someone to guide you, like if you need help. They're supposed to be like your parent at school. In your homeroom, there's other students that are also like in your homeroom with this TA teacher, and basically they can range from a bunch of students from grade 9 to 12. In grade 9, I had another TA, and she was like notorious for being a tough math teacher. She wasn't really on top of like what was going on, but like she was more attentive to like how things are and advice and stuff like that. Like she's like, okay, you have to do this, do that, whatever. But you know, I still ended up having to summer school. I still wasn't like the best student ever. But then in grade 10, she retired, so then I had to meet a new teacher as my TA. And I've talked about this story like before in my old channel. Like I went into depth about how my teacher bullied me, and this is basically, I'm just saying what it is. It is what it is. Again, as I said, the whammy combination of like a student that has like no self-drive, is nervous and anxious about getting in trouble, is easily embarrassed, and is in a self-directed school. That's like triple whammy. This is like first half of the year, and I was already like a little bit behind in one of my classes. So then I walked into my homeroom or like morning TA. My teacher is like, oh, Angela, so like I got a message from your teacher.
Oh, Angela, so I got an email from one of your teachers, and she said that you haven't seen her since the beginning of school. Can you tell me who this teacher is?
I was like surprised that he would just call me out like that in front of everybody.
Okay, we'll just call her Mrs. Apple. I was like, is it Mrs. Apple? And he was like, bingo! That's who it is. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, why haven't you been seeing her? Like with attitude, like.
And I was just like, oh, like I'm scared, because like obviously I'm not telling a lie. I was scared of seeing her because of the fact that I was already behind, right? And you would think my teacher would be like, oh, you know, like it's not scary, like don't worry, like, you know, try to guide me and help me into like seeing if there's something wrong, like in a deep way. But like he didn't do that. He ended up like laughing at me, and like he was like making fun of me in front of the class.
He started laughing at me. He's like, why are you scared of her? I heard other people in the room start giggling, and I was like, at this point I wanted to cry. I wanted to run outside of the room. I was like, I don't know why he's calling me out, embarrassing me in front of everyone in this room.
And I already knew that this teacher did not like me, and I don't know why. Let's just get that vibe, you know what I mean? Like, you know when a teacher doesn't like you. And I'm not a loud student. I'm very like, I will talk unless spoken to, you know what I mean? Like, just more of like a shy person in general. But he loved my best friends, like all of them. Like, they were more like social people and stuff like that. And I just assumed like, oh, okay, like not everyone's gonna like you. That's fine, right? Like, he probably just gravitates more towards like students that are like more outgoing, and that's okay, right? To this day, people also, another opposing opinion is that people say, oh, he's just like teasing you, blah blah. No, I know for a fact it wasn't that, because I would know if he was just teasing me. I would know. He just kept going, and then raised his voice and yelled at me. I know for a fact it was not a joke. He was not joking. He was being serious. At first, I didn't think it was a big deal. He asked, like, you haven't been seeing this teacher? And I said, oh, it's because I'm scared. And he was like, scared? You're scared? And I was like, yeah, I'm just scared. Our homeroom has like doors that connects to the other math rooms, basically. And then students tend to like walk through our room to get to the other math rooms, right? When other students would like walk around through our class, he just screamed at them, and then they got scared. He was like, ah, and then they got scared. And then he was like, see, Angela, that's how you get scared, not from a teacher.
So someone was walking through, and he was like, ah! right? And then that kid got scared. And then he turned to me, he's like, Angela, that's how you get scared. You don't get scared from other people. Grow up, you're not in kindergarten anymore. And I was like, I wanted to, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. No, can't cry. Because I told the story so many times and I can't cry.
And he was like, so today, you know what you're gonna be doing? You're gonna go to science, you're gonna talk to her, right? And he was like saying this like in front of everybody and stuff like that. There's like more details that I cannot remember because I just try to forget, but there's a more detailed video because it was more fresh in my mind because this was like 10 years ago now. He just called me out, was like making fun of me in front of the class. I started getting emotional and scared because I'm like I'm more scared of this man, you know what I mean, at this point.
I was just like holding myself together. I didn't know how I didn't just start crying. There was other things that were said that targeted me during that time, but I honestly don't remember anymore. But that was where that was like the main stuff that happened.
My teacher was on I'm still in class. Anyways, let me just mute that. And then I was writing down my schedule. He was like, oh, you're gonna be going to her first period. And I was like, she's not on floor. She's not on floor. You need to also get a signature from your TA. So he signs it. And then like I'm freaking losing my mind at this point. Like holding in my tears. I don't even remember where I went first period. I cannot. Oh, I went to the washroom and I just cried. And I asked my friend to come with me because I was like losing my mind. I was like, oh my god, like I'm so scared right now. I think like to normal people it's probably not a freaking like big deal, but like I already have like a fear of getting in trouble, and like I think it's because of that anxiety of like getting in trouble. I keep pushing things away and like I would just like procrastinate so hard so I don't have to deal with things, but then like it makes things worse, which is things that it's like something that like you have to change your mindset. I learned about that now. Like I'm more on top of my shit now because I cannot deal with anxiety. I don't want to deal with it. I saw my teacher later that day. It took me like the whole period. I could not even move. Like I was just like crying in the classroom by myself, and I could not get the courage to go up to her right away. I like waited to the very freaking last moment, and it was before lunchtime. So then I ended up talking to her during lunch. She was like, oh, like are you okay? Like she knows my sister as well, my older sister. She was just like asking me like, why haven't I seen you? Like are you okay? Because obviously I'm like freaking bawling my eyes out at this point. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, like I'm like scared to like talk to you, blah blah blah. I should have talked to her about like how my TA yelled at me and like made fun of me in front of everyone, and like that's the real reason why I'm crying. Again, like I had issues with like getting help. Like I couldn't do it. Like I don't know. I didn't trust anyone basically. Like I lived my whole life like you're on your freaking own, right? But like at this point, like I talked to her and she's like, oh, I think you have like a little bit of social anxiety. I think you need to talk to the guidance counselor. She also offered like to help me. She's like, oh, like you can always like come at this time, like if you're not feeling that great, like you can come to this other room, that's where I'm there for like others, for like grade 9 students or something like that. You can come and consult with me if like blah blah blah. So she was giving me a lot of options at the time on like just to help me reach out to her, right? So I was like really appreciative of that. After lunch I went back to my homeroom because after lunch you have to do check-in. So like attendance check-in. And then my teacher was there, and then he was like, so did you see her? Like he was being so sassy. Like I'm not even joking. Like when my friends tell me, oh, like maybe he was just joking. No, he was not. I will die on my grave with that statement that he was not joking. He was not like teasing me. He didn't want to deal with that shit. You know what I mean? He didn't want to deal with me having like freaking issues. Like he just didn't want to deal with it. That's why he was being so like annoying. I said, yeah, I saw her already. And he was like, okay. And then at the end of the day, we have another check-in, so we have to do attendance again before we leave school at the end of the day. So I go back to my TA room, and then my teacher was there, and then he was like saying like, she told me that like you went there really late, and she barely even had any time to talk to you, so make sure you go earlier next time. Like I spent the whole like lunch period, like I'm sure she did not say that. Like I'm sure he was just saying some shit, because like I spent that whole lunch period talking to her and I was like crying to her. And then I even asked her for a hug because I was like shaking like so bad. Like I was losing my mind. I was crying so bad because of how anxious I was. And then like I just skipped my whole lunch period, and she even skipped her lunch period to talk to me. Make sure you go earlier because she said that she didn't have time to talk to you. He's like saying shit, you know what I mean? Pissing me off to this day. Pisses me off. That's just the story. Anyways, so I was supposed to go to the guidance counselor and get a social worker to talk to me and like help me manage my anxiety, probably get actually diagnosed. But when I had my meeting with my guidance counselor, she was telling me, oh, you need to get consent from your parents for you to talk to your guidance counselor, right? So I was like, okay. So then I go to my parents and I'm like, oh, I have like anxiety, I think. And I'm like struggling. I need help. And at the time, my parents were getting a divorce. Divorce babes. And this was also like impacting my life incredibly. And this was something that my teacher did not know about. Like my homeroom teacher, because I didn't tell anybody. I didn't talk to anyone about it. Only my friends at the time, like my close friends. My parents were getting a divorce. It was like in a weird moment where they're like, okay, custody, like what are we gonna do about that? And my mom was still like in a big, we both need to agree on whatever like our kids have to go through, like consensual wise, because we're still like underage. So I was like, you guys need to sign this form so I can see a social worker. So I give them this form. My mom's like, okay, like what's going on? And I was like, oh, I think I have anxiety, whatever that means, right? My mom was like, I'm okay with it, but like you have to ask your dad too. I asked him, he said no. He said no. So I didn't get any help. I went to my guidance counselor. I was like really distraught because I really wanted help. I needed someone to talk to. I needed guidance from someone. Oh my god, I'm getting emotional. I didn't think I'd get emotional. It's been 10 years, bro. It's been 10 years. I mean, the first time I told the story, like I was bawling throughout the whole thing, but like I think the fact that like I didn't get the help I needed is really freaking heartbreaking. I think it's really sad. But yeah, so I go to my guidance counselor and I'm like, oh, my dad didn't want to sign my form. And then she was like, I can't do anything about that. I don't know. Is there another way I can figure this out? And she's like, no, I can't do anything for you. Right? And then I was like, well, I'm on my own. Then this is why I have like issues like with asking for help and stuff like that, right? Oh, that's so sad. That's so sad. I feel so sad for my past self because I felt so alone. And then the only time I told any teacher about what was going on, like anxiety and like the stuff that's happening at home, was so like I was taking art class at the time, but I was like dead ass. I was like not prioritizing it that much because I was so freaking behind in like all of my academic stuff. That was like my elective, but like I was so behind in so many of my main stuff that like I was also really behind in that course, right? But basically in art class, one of our units, you have to fill up your sketchbook with like anything, right? And for some reason at the time, I did not believe my teacher would see all of it. Like I didn't believe he would actually look through my sketchbook, right? I don't know why. My sketchbook was like mostly filled, and then at the very end I wrote like kind of like a diary entry of things that was happening. Oh my god, why am I so sad? And then I wrote like at the bottom like to my teacher, I was like, oh, can you like sign here if you read all of this, right? Because I did not believe he would read it. And I think it's because of how adults had failed me so many times. Like I didn't believe like writing. That's why like journaling helps me so much, because like I think writing down everything helped me so much. And then he actually like signed it, and he wrote me like a letter about all of it. And then like I remember at the very end of the year we had like consultations about like your grade and stuff, and I had so many missing units, but like I wouldn't have gotten an amazing grade. Like I had enough to pass. And then he pulled me aside and he was like, oh, like I read your sketchbook, like are you okay? And I was like, I got embarrassed because I was like, oh, that's embarrassing, like he actually read it. And he was like saying like, did you have anyone to talk to about this? And I was like, no, I didn't talk to anyone about it. But like the whole time I was like acting like I was fine. I was like, literally, no, I'm fine. Like, no, I didn't have anyone to talk to. And he was like, you know, like you can always talk to me about anything that you need, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, thanks. And then he bumped up my grade and gave me like an A, and I was like so thankful. And then he even like I even mentioned that I was moving away. He invited me, even though I was in a different school, he invited me to go to New York because there's an Art New York trip. I ended up not going because stupid reasons, but I'm so like forever thankful because he was the only teacher that listened, if that makes sense. I mean, I did have my science teacher, but like I don't know, I didn't have that like bond with her. If anything, I did tell my TA during my last TA interview. So basically every month. There's like these things called TA interviews, and it's basically just one-on-one meeting with your TA to talk about your units, like if you're behind and like what you can do to catch up. So I had one-on-one, like my last one with my teacher. I told him, yo, I'm moving.
I couldn't. I had a choice. I could have stayed at that school, but I just couldn't anymore. I couldn't get myself to go to school every day because it was so hard to go.
And then he started laughing, saying, oh, so you're giving up. Because I've seen other TA members talk to him about moving, and he's like, no, like if you move away, it's like giving up, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bitch, let them move away. Like this school's so doo-doo garbage. Anyways, he was like, oh, so you're giving up. And I was like, no, my parents are divorcing, I'm moving. And he was like, oh. And then probably everything made sense in his brain, but like, why would I freaking tell you about anything?
And then he was like, you know, if you ever need anyone to talk to, you can talk to me. I just couldn't believe he had the nerve to say that after what he put me through for the past year.
And he's like, do you want to talk about it? And I was like, no. Why would I want to talk about it at this point? And like, I got emotional telling him because I was like, it's hard to say, right?
I don't know why. I don't know why he said this. But he was like, oh, do you know the reason why? Like, he wanted to know the reason why blank, blank, blank happened. And I was like, I do, but I don't want to talk about it right now. And he was like, okay. And then we continued with the rest of the TA interview.
I'll never forget that. The teachers in that school failed me so hard. Like, I needed help and I didn't get it. That just sets me up for the future. You know what I mean? Like I was on my own. So anyways, flash forward. I moved schools. I think I was really, really lucky because in my new school, every single teacher I had was very kind. I had a really kind guidance counselor, and like I felt safe for the most part. I was still like really anxious about like having like talking to my teachers about like my life and things and getting that like relationship that I would have in like elementary school type B. I always really loved talking to my teachers and like telling them about my life and stuff like that. I was still scared to have like that kind of relationship with my professors or my teachers, but I like did my best. I feel like I was really lucky that I wasn't like afraid of anyone. Everyone was really kind. I had a really great like last 2 years of high school in my new school, even though like I didn't have like my best friends that I grew up with me and stuff like that. It was like a really new start, and I actually tried harder in school, and I was like, I want to change myself. No one knows me here. No labels. So then I was like a freaking try-hard person. But then like after high school, I think like because you're so alone after high school, my anxiety got like really bad because I was like alone a lot. I did have like school and stuff. I went to OCAD University and I also went to Seneca, and I was like struggling because I don't know why. I don't know what it was. And I think it's also because I lived so far from my school and I had to like commute like 2 hours every day. And then like I would get really, really anxious like being late in school and stuff like that, which is crazy because I'm usually like always freaking late. I just get anxious being late in post-secondary because when you're late you miss a lot of instruction, and then like I get scared of asking like what I missed and like asking for help. So, and then like the pandemic happened and I was like mega isolated, didn't talk to anybody like for months, and I also dropped out. And then this is like probably the height of my anxiety. I know like I was an anxious person in like high school, but like at least I was still like communicating with people in general. But then like during the pandemic, I was like mostly not talking to like IRL people. I don't know, it was such a weird time. I can't even remember everything anymore. Like it's a blur now. But so in general, I was just like struggling a lot. Even though I had like a lot of like online friends and stuff like that, I was like still struggling. Like I had a hard time answering emails. Like I'd shake a lot. And like, okay, these are my things when I am an anxiety person. I call it the anxiety person. When I'm anxious, my heart beats a lot. I sweat, especially here. My voice wavers when I talk. It's either like my voice wavers when I talk or like it's really hard for me to talk. Like I remember like in college when I would try to talk to people, like make friends or like make a group, my classmates, like I would try to talk, but like nothing came out. And then I would shake a lot. And like I think the shaking and the voice wavering and then like not being able to speak makes me feel like always makes me feel so frustrated. My mind starts to overthink and then I start reacting with my body. But sometimes like even my mind is like, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And I try to ground myself with like, you're fine, everything will be okay, just ask. And I would be like, just ask or just talk or just do this thing. Or like I would rehearse what I'm going to say over and over and over again. And then I start like overthinking like, oh my God, this person's going to think I'm stupid. And then like it just like replays in my head over and over again. But then like I know I'm fine in my head. But then like my body reacts so differently. And it makes me really frustrated and I hate it. I hate it so much every time. I can't remember if this has happened to me in high school. The shaking part is more of like a thing now that I'm an adult than it was when I was younger. I think it just came with like being so isolated. Like I would just be home all the time, do YouTube videos and just be home, play games with my friends online. I was just so isolated to where I would be so nervous when I would go outside because it's not even like the way I know it's like social anxiety is because the things that are like I'm scared about is like oh my God, like I'm gonna like interact with like the cashier and like I'm nervous about that, but like why am I nervous about that? I overthink those things, or like oh my God, like what if I see someone I know at the mall today, and like it just like freaks me out every time. So like I like overthink is so bad. He left. What happened? My professor is gone. What happened? Anyways, I don't know. I think this is like a therapy session for me right now. Like with anxiety came like me feeling like really sad about life and not really having goals. I was like living, but not really living. I was like alive, doing things that like normal people do, just like being here. But like when I read my old journals, I did not believe I'd be alive. I would constantly be like, in case something happens, this is my thoughts, blah, blah, blah. If someone finds these journals and I'm not around, you can read them. Type beat like these. I would always write about that. This is what I thought, that I would just like stay home and like take care of my mom and my grandma until like I die. I did not believe I would be like ambitious enough to like do all these dreams and have dreams to go places and do things, have my own place. Like I did not, like I worked to survive, and I also worked because I was like, well, I gotta take care of my family, I guess. And like that was like my only reason. That's why like I grinded YouTube and stuff like that. Like I had no ambition for like myself. Like I would do things, and my hobbies also like kept me inspired. But like the overall core of my soul was so empty. Well, Jerome came back into my life, and this was after like I was in a really weird situationship that was going nowhere, and I was like, this like situationship is making me really depressed, and I was like constantly struggling, arguing with this person all the time. It was really toxic. I'm not gonna freaking lie. But you know, we're all in happier places now. It wasn't meant to be, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. Yeah, Jerome came back in my life. Having Jerome definitely helped me, but because he was in my life and I was like, yeah, sure, you should just date. It wasn't like that, I swear, but TLDR. I don't know, having someone there as like a cushion really freaking helped me, because I was still like, ooh, every time we go out, I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to go here today. Can we just like stay home? Or like, but then like, I remember at my core, I'm not a homebody. I love exploring. I love going out. Like in elementary school, in like the earlier days of high school, I was like everywhere. I was like going everywhere, exploring everywhere with my friends and everything. And I know that like me being a homebody and an anxious person, that's like a label that like people created, like my friends online created for me, because like of how often I would stay home. But I'm like remembering after I started dating Jerome that that's not who I am. That is not who I am. I am someone who loves hiking. I love nature. I love going out. I love looking at random shit at stores, stuff like that. That's like who I am in my core. And Jerome really helped me feel brave enough to practice being desensitized, interacting with the world again after being like so isolated for such a long time. It's frustrating to me when people are like, when people tell me that he was the one that healed me, but like me and Jerome know that like that is not the case. Because when you're healing from anxiety and stuff like that, like 110%, that's you. Like that's me. I did that. As an anxious person, I could easily be like, let me just stay home. Let me do all this at home. I'm so like, But like, I constantly was like, I cannot rely on Jerome to do everything for me. I cannot. I'm not gonna be a wifey in the future that's like, Jerome's gonna do everything for me. He does do so much for me to this day. So much for me. Like, I'm so freaking thankful for him. So freaking thankful. Literally my rock. Also, Joy's my rock too. Joy has helped me so much in my life, especially with anxiety. Just getting desensitized and exposure therapy. Exposure therapy has helped me so much, like pushing myself with challenges, like, okay, I'm gonna like order today, I'm okay with going here without makeup on, or like, yeah, I can like talk to these people. Like, I would talk to strangers at the store and like not be like anymore, because of like how much I've like practiced and like pushed myself out there. And like, I have been so proud of myself like these last 2, almost 3 years now. I'm not like shaking when I do emails anymore, or like when I talk to random people, or when I reply to comments online. I'm not like, those were things that were really, really hard for me for like such a long time. Or like, even just going outside into the backyard. Going in the backyard was hard for me for such a long time. Like, I couldn't do it because I felt like people were watching me. Like, that's how bad it was. Like, it was so bad. My anxiety was so bad. One time my neighbor like just randomly talked to me and I was like, hi. You know what I mean? After like 8 years of living here. I feel like my story's so like everywhere right now, but it's such a crazy thing how much like I've healed and gotten better with my anxiety. And I think such a big source of my anxiety is school. So going back to school was a really, really big deal for me, especially like online school. It's like really, really different. I had a really great first semester. I felt very, very safe until this semester. So like, I have a new professor and I get like really nervous when I have to talk sometimes, but like, I practiced it a lot last semester, so I was like, I'll be okay, like, I'm fine. But then what happened was we got a new software for calling, so like all my settings were like bonked and weird, and I still had to fix that up. So then when he called on me, answer a question, my mic wasn't working, and then he was like, hello, are you there? And I'm like, I was already like anxious because I was sitting there waiting for him to call on me, like, eventually. And then he did, and then like, because my mic wasn't working, I started like shaking really bad, and I was like shaking really bad. And then like, I remember like this was last week, this was literally last week, and I was typing and I was like shaking like this, typing, and then answering the question and stuff like that, and like saying like, oh sorry, my mic's not working, blah blah blah. And like, my heart was beating so bad, and it was not even a big deal. I felt really, really frustrated that day because I felt like all of my progress was like set back. And I had another class later on, but I already had this teacher last semester, so I was like really, really familiar with her, and I know everything was okay. And like, I needed to ask her about a question because I have to go to campus to pick up like some supplies and stuff like that, and I wanted to ask like what time was best. I felt so frozen, and like, mind you, like, I practiced so much to like where I felt so normal just like talking to her like last semester, but like for some reason I got so triggered during that first period class. I couldn't talk to her until the very, very last minute of class, and I was like shaking so bad, like typing. And then like, she just was like, oh, like, yeah, like, you know, telling me the details of like meeting up with her to get the supplies. I just felt so anxious like the rest of like the other couple days, until like yesterday I like broke down crying because of like me reflecting over it. And I just like felt so defeated because of like, I felt like all my progress like went back. And I was talking about it with Joy, and she was like, it's okay that you were like nervous and like you were shaking and stuff like that, and it's because like you're still healing. And I think that was such a big deal to hear, because I felt like I was mostly healed. Like, I kept like convincing myself like, oh, I'm fine, like I'm so like good now, because like I even went to my campus to get like my email stuff fixed because I had like issues with my email. I traveled all the way to school, I talked to IT, I wasn't even nervous, I was fine, like everything was great. Like, I even asked help from like one of the staff, and like I'm really good at asking for help now and stuff like that. Like, I'm not worried about it. And then that happened, and then I felt so frustrated. Again, like I said, like when I shake and when my heart gets like beats, and then when my armpits get like really wet, I feel so frustrated every time. And I'm always telling myself like, you're fine, like it's not a big deal, you've done this so many times, like you know this professor, you're fine. But then like I kept shaking, and I was like so frustrated with myself after that. And then Joy was like, it's fine, like you're okay, it's just that you're still healing. And I think that was such a big thing to really like come to terms with. It's just like still a journey that I'm still going towards, and I don't know when I'm gonna be healed, and I think it's because I get so frustrated. I just want to be normal. Like, you know how people say like, oh, like don't say like you have social anxiety, like I have anxiety. Like, it's so real, and I hate when people downplay it. Like, I hate when people downplay it. Like, it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad because when people downplay it as something insignificant, or it's not something serious, it's like, no. If you dealt with social anxiety, or like any type of anxiety or any mental health issue, if you dealt with that every single day of your life, you would understand how hard it is to function like a normal human being. And that's all I wanted. I just want to be normal. I don't, like, who wants social anxiety? Like, I don't want it. Like, I want to feel normal and like not think things are hard. You know what I mean? And I'm like so proud of myself for getting to this point. But like, I think I learned that I still have a long way to go. And I think that's okay. I think that's okay. And I think I was just frustrated because I was like upset that I'm not healed. I'm not normal. And I still have a lot of like work to go. And I think that's okay. And I'm fine. And I had tech issues today, like literally like an hour ago. And I'm feeling fine. I'm like telling myself, it's fine. No one's gonna think about it later. Hopefully. And if they do, that's on them. Because I'm not going to be thinking about it. So I'm just trying to... The thing is, like, even with that mishap last week, I have to remember that life isn't going to cater towards me and my needs. Even though I'll have a professor that's more like, you answer the question. Like, that's just life. Like, I can't control, like, who my professors are. I just have to deal with it and, like, do my best. And that's all I have to do. So I think that's, like, something I have to learn. And I think it's because, like, I was really lucky with my last semester. All my professors were really, really, really kind. I'm not saying that my professors now are really kind. It's more like I have to learn and meet new people. And that's a little hard for me because I just have to get used to them again. It's just a part of the journey, and I have to know and understand that it's just a part of the journey. I feel like I didn't talk about like how I've healed myself mostly, and it's basically exposure therapy, but the way I try to see it for myself is that like I know that this particular thing makes me anxious and I get nervous towards this particular thing, but like I have to create a more positive approach towards these things. So instead of me being like, oh my god, I'm so nervous for this presentation, I have to like think about it in a more like positive way, like, oh, like even though I'm nervous for this presentation that's gonna happen, I'm gonna feel so good when I'm done. Those type of thing, right? Or like if I try to order food today, it'll be easier for me next time, like way easier for me. So then that's how I push myself. And like I try to desensitize bad emotions with those situations that I'm nervous about with like a more positive feeling. So I think like one of the things that like make me really anxious about like certain things is like growing up, like I wouldn't want to do something, but then my mom would be like, do it, you have to do it. So then like it makes me like nervous, and it creates like a negative feeling towards this thing. And I think that's why I get like really anxious about like random weird things. So then I just have to like rewire my brain and like just approach it with like a more positive note. But I think I also have to remember that like not every single experience is going to be positive, but that's okay. So that's my anxiety journey, and I'm still a healing girly. This is my experience. Everyone's experience is very different. Some people need more support or different types of support. This is just my situation. I never was able to go to therapy, but I read a lot of like self-help stuff online. I think the best part is to really like look back with anxiety and try to understand and pinpoint reasons why you feel this way and like what may have like triggered it. And I think like looking at it as a more logical approach for me personally helped. I think looking at anxiety as like just a trait that is there to protect you. It's like a primal thing that we've had for survival, right? When my brain was developing as a kid, I was in survival mode during like certain times where I got like really bad experiences, and then like that's why my brain correlates certain situations with anxiety. And that's the reason why. Looking at it in like a more logical approach definitely helped me, and like reading up about it really, really helped me. I think that's just like the best way for me. Everyone's situation is going to be different. I'm not saying this is how it's going to heal you or whatever. 110%. This is my journey and this is what has helped me. I feel like everyone's story is different but could be related in some way. With people who like experience like mental health stuff, like I always try to be very, very sensitive about those things, because like experiencing it firsthand and like constantly experiencing people who invalidate you, I know how like disheartening and like how sad and like isolating and like hard that could feel. For me, all I ever just wanted to feel was like normal, like function normally, and just to be told that like what I'm feeling isn't real or it's a cause of something that I cannot see, it feels so invalidating. And like I just think we just have to be more understanding towards people and like understand that like things like this and like how different people are, it's not black and white. There's no solid answer for these things. It's just such a personal journey that people have to go through. And I just think it's just so important to say like you're not alone. There are people that are experiencing these things too. It's really hard for these people, and I just think it's just important to be more sensitive and like more empathic towards people who experience these things. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents, and I hope this video can help someone. I don't know, I'm just blurbing. This is a yapathon video, but yeah, that's what I've been feeling lately. Also, I have some like group assignments that has been making me so nervous, because I have to interact with like new people in a more serious level, because obviously everyone's mark is on the line. I'm just telling myself if I get through this and I have a good experience, I just have to try my best. Then it's just like another level of like yeah, I can do this. I've done this before. It's like adding to my resume of like things that I'm less anxious about. I hope this video inspires you. 110% for me. Exposure therapy. You have to push yourself. My mindset is always no one's gonna fix you. You have to help yourself. That's that. You have to put the work in. That's just me. That's just me though. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.